Next item, please.
Adopt resolution authorizing the purchase of 14 vehicles in an amount not to exceed $755,500. Reappropriate available 2016-17 budget from the General Equipment Revolving Fund in the amount of $83,000. Reappropriate available...
Hold on, I'm sorry, City Clerk. Mr. Sullivan, could you stay for just a second? Please go ahead.
Reappropriate available 2017-18 budget from the General Equipment Revolving Fund in the amount of $585,000, and appropriate available funds in the General Equipment Revolving Fund in the amount of $87,500 for the cost increase in the revised vehicle purchase price from the budget.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to staff, Mark, the reason I asked you to pause, you didn't have to sit down, you get to go home, is I and the council want to acknowledge your 17 years of service to the city of San Bruno. I know Friday is your final day and retirement is upon you. And so on behalf of the council, we want to thank you for your service to this community and thank you. And you have a 5-0 vote on this project. And we appreciate all that you do. We wish you the very best in all that you are going to do. So thank you again. Sorry, Melissa. Staff, who's taking lead? Mr. Bosch, Dennis.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. My name is Dennis Bosch, and I am your Public Works Deputy Director, Maintenance and Operations. Tonight, I am presenting for approval vehicle replacements for the past 2016, 2017, and 2017 and 2018 budget years. For some background, the award for this combined vehicle purchase was previously brought to Council at the May 22nd Council meeting. However, during the meeting, City Council members and staff concurred that additional time was needed to review and confirm the proposed vehicles listed in the fiscal year 16-17 and 17-18 budgets. The Council then created a subcommittee to further discuss all aspects of city vehicle replacement, such as needs, wear and tear conditions, and overall replacement process. A subcommittee meeting was held on July 23rd with 2 council members and city staff. The meeting included review of the current state of the entire city fleet, a presentation of the city's depreciation and amortization policy, a presentation of the City of San Mateo's vehicle policy and amortization schedule, and a presentation on the vehicle replacement policies for 6 Bay Area cities. At this subcommittee meeting, staff further answered the council members' detailed questions regarding individual vehicles that are being presented for replacement tonight. In addition, the city's replacement policy was discussed, to which the subcommittee and members expressed an interest to develop a more detailed policy that provides a clearer criteria for when to replace a vehicle. Staff will be working with the city manager to review the existing process for any needed improvements, or possibly create a new policy and/or fleet study that will be presented to the council at future study sessions to obtain additional input and direction. To date, the city maintains 145 vehicles and other equipment in an ongoing effort to meet service level expectations. In the past years, due to challenged budgets, the city employed a practice of replacing only marked police vehicles and other vehicles which may have experienced major failure. Our current process for establishing replacement lists starts with staff meeting with the garage mechanics and city departments to carefully analyze and review the replacement recommendation schedule, as well as the maintenance and repair history. The vehicle replacement list is then presented to council in the annual budget. In an effort to explain how city vehicles are used, city vehicles are driven or operated in a different manner than normal vehicles. They experience heavy use, start and stop all day long under demanding conditions, and are subject to mostly city driving. The city is approximately 5.5 square miles, and the city vehicles do not frequently reach high mileage over their useful life. However, these idle hours of use contribute to a total negative wear and tear effect on the vehicle's lifespan, which is not represented by the overall mileage of a vehicle. Vehicles usually don't have a specific backup if they're taken out of service or suffer a major breakdown. They have specialized equipment, radios, toolboxes, lights, and pressurized equipment. When this happens, it has a deferred effect on the task for which the vehicle is intended. Due to the older age of some of the vehicles, we're experiencing more serious issues, difficulty meeting smog requirements, and have difficulty getting parts and have higher fuel costs. Tonight, staff is proposing 14 vehicles for replacement, Please direct your attention to the second slide. As you can see from the 16-17 vehicles, there's an F-450 dump truck and a Chevy Lumina. And then below that, and the slide behind that, is the proposed vehicles for the 17-18 vehicle replacements. 2 vehicles are being proposed, as I said, from the 16-17 budget, and 12 are being proposed from the 17-18 budget. This and other detailed information regarding the current state and need for replacement of each of these vehicles was both stated in the staff report and attached summary documents that were previously delivered to council. To procure these vehicles, staff is using a combination of government purchasing cooperative agreements and competitive bids. Both methods of procurement are in compliance with the state contract code and the city's purchasing regulations. For examples of government purchasing through cooperative agreements, 2 trucks will be selected through the National Joint Powers Alliance, and 1 motorcycle for the police department would be selected using a government contract and price of a recently purchased motorcycle by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Both vendors were selected based on the availability, price, and ability to provide all specifications, having satisfactorily provided similar vehicles for municipalities across the country and in California. For the remaining 11 vehicles, city staff, in compliance with state contract code and the city's local purchasing regulations, issued a notice to bidders to automobile dealerships and posted the notice on the city's website. The cost to replace the 14 proposed vehicles is $755,500, which includes the cost of equipment outfitting, sales tax, license, registration, and delivery. Staff is requesting a reappropriation of available 16-17 budget in the amount of $83,000 and a reappropriation of available 17-18 budget in the amount of $585,000, funding approved by the City Council in prior budgets. Staff is requesting to appropriate available funds in the General Equipment Revolving Fund in the amount of $87,500 for the difference in the total vehicle purchase price, primarily due to the revised cost of various large maintenance trucks, outfitting of public safety vehicles, and the addition of a damaged central garage truck not previously included in the replacement schedule. With a general equipment revolving fund balance of approximately $5 million, there are sufficient funds for this appropriation. In closing, I wanted to reassure the council tonight that staff works very hard not only to provide a sustainable fleet, but take very seriously our role in the responsibility as good stewards of ratepayer and citizen dollars. We work with the accounting staff, the city manager's office, the various departments, and analyze very closely each vehicle, its unique role in the operation and the delivery of the services, and make adjustments to ensure that when we recommend the replacement of a vehicle, it's done so in a thoughtful and reasonable manner. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to take any questions that the council would have.
Thank you. And I know there was a subcommittee. Vice Mayor, did you have anything to add?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I wanted to thank staff's time for once again spending time with council to explain the vehicle replacement program and how it works. And one of the things that I got the feedback on is that it seems like it's an ongoing thing that staff is being asked these same questions. What's going on? Why these vehicles? I look at the amount of mileage and I kind of question these things. So one of the items we did discuss, which was also in your presentation, which I appreciate, is to work in developing clear guidelines for the replacement of the vehicles so that staff's clear and that council is clear and that we can go back to these guidelines and that it meets these needs. And I think most importantly, we all need to understand that vehicles need to be available for city employees, of course, from a public safety standpoint, right? So police and fire, it's kind of a hands down, we need to have those vehicles. But also that the vehicles our employees are driving around, whether it's a pickup truck for the water department or the sewer department, that those vehicles are representing the city and who we are. And that a vehicle that has been out there for many years, getting the beating and the abuse that it is also not a good representation of the city and who we are. Because these vehicles do take that beating. And I appreciate the comments by staff as well, when you can't just look at mileage on a document and say, well, God, only 40,000 mileage, when these vehicles, like you said, sit idle, right? So you might have a truck idle all day long, not getting a total of 5 miles, but it's been in use all day long. The other thing that we were very clearly communicated on is that having to replace parts on vehicles that don't exist. They're having to search on Amazon for parts. That's not good, right? So we need to feel confident in the vehicles that we have on fleet, that we're confident that our employees will have those vehicles to do their job and to do it efficiently. So I thank you for the report, and I appreciate your time.
Councilman Medina.
Right. I served with Vice Mayor Davis on the subcommittee, and you guys did a good job explaining how it works and what was involved in it. So looking forward to how the guidelines are going to be revised and looking at changing that amortization schedule, since cars are 15 years minimum that we're keeping them, and currently we're costing them at 7, is something that we need to clearly look back at. These vehicles, how do they get auctioned off? Is the public advised of it? I think that Harley Davidson police motorcycle would be really, really cool. But I think you guys are going to take off like the San Bruno. Okay. And then, so that was primarily it. As for the street sweeper, they no longer make it. The one that we have is currently functioning okay?
It's functioning.
It's functioning.
We've spent a lot of money on it in the past years.
Okay, so are there any plans to get a rental while we're going to be waiting for the new model to come out, or what's the plan to?
We're looking at it, every possibility that we can.
Okay. I think that's it. So the public will be there'll be some kind of announcement that the vehicles are auctioned on a certain date. How does that work?
I know there's been some changes in the organization, and the person that actually ran the fleet is not here at this moment. And so I think what I understood is the city's emblems and all that logos, everything gets removed, and then it gets sent to an auction site where they would auction off the vehicle. And so there is a vendor that the city uses for the auction of these vehicles.
And just one last additional question. Our fleet manager at that time mentioned the idea of having additional police vehicles, I guess, in the garage, so when something happens to one of those vehicles, that it's a quicker turnaround in getting a replacement. And the timing of there recently was a police vehicle that was damaged. I just wanted to, I thought it was a good idea, and wanted to kind of hear more details about that, but I understand that that person's not here. But is the vehicle that was involved in the accident, is it operable, or?
Yeah, that information.
Yep.
Okay.
The 2017 Ford Explorer with 23,000 miles is currently at the shop. When it comes to the police vehicles, we try to expedite the repairs as soon as possible to get them back on the street for public safety and for use. And at least ballpark figures is we do not believe it has to obviously be inspected by the professionals at the auto body shop, but just as long as the frame checks out and everything else, we're expecting ballpark to be anywhere between 9 to 15,000 maybe at the tops. So, but it's not going to be totaled, and it's still.
And I know that's just preliminary. This just happened, and so
right.
Appreciate, but no one's holding you to that.
Right. I just wanted to.
No,
I have the
that's
information.
not really on the agenda, but
right.
yes, but appreciate the update.
Okay.
Marty?
Good.
Michael, anything? Thank you, please.
I'd like some clarification on the descriptions that you're using for these vehicles. They're tagged as fiscal year 17, 18, and I'm wondering, where do those designations come from? Is that just that they were identified in a specific year for replacement? So they've been sort of sitting without action?
That's correct.
Since that, okay, so we've been accumulating these even though they were designated to be replaced. Okay. So when this first came up as an agenda item, I had a number of questions I submitted to the city manager regarding concerns I had. And at the time, we weren't told that that there would be a subcommittee. The item was pulled from the agenda. We got no notification that that a subcommittee was created, who would be on that subcommittee. First I heard of it was when I read the staff report. The staff report didn't include any of the findings, any of the material that was shared with the subcommittee. We were told that a new policy will be developed, but we don't have that policy or any indication of what might change in that policy that could affect how we would make this decision. So based on that, and also the fact that none of the questions I submitted were ever responded to, I'm not going to support this. But I want to acknowledge staff's work on this. Dennis, I hear you and I understand that you guys have your processes and I know that you follow them. But based on the fact that I think that we had a breakdown in the administrative process, I won't support this action. And lastly, I'll say another reason is abandoning the Harley Davidsons for the BMW. That was like the nail in the coffin. I just can't support that. Thank you.
And I'd have to go back in notes, but I think on the subcommittee, I think that was appointed at a council meeting, too. So that was done in light of the concern that we kept asking questions. We would approve it in the capital improvement, and then we would have questions which would go back. So that was done that part at a council meeting. As far as the questions, and I think just for clarification, those were with the former city manager. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Irene, do you have any questions? Okay. So this is an action item. There is a motion and a second to adopt the resolution, and if so, there would be a roll call on the action.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Councilmember Medina?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell? Aye. Councilmember Salazar?
No.
Vice Mayor Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Medina?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.